Hi, good people. This is another session where we get to build our strong marriages while working out on those things that seem to hold us back. Today's topic is no more spark in my marriage. What happens when you lose that spark in the marriage? Is this spark something in our heads or is it a reality? Does it get to a place where actually marriages lose the spark? How can we get it back? Where are we losing it? And is it such a big deal in a marriage setup? So, the first thing I want to address is that, and to let us know, is that marriages have a cycle. It doesn't stay in one stage forever. So, mostly they have three cycles: the honeymoon stage, the storming stage, and the stability stage. Every marriage will evolve in these three levels, driven by individual personalities, background, and the foundation that has been set earlier. Honeymoon stage has a lot of love, unity, belonging, and perfection. This is where you hold hands when you're closing the road. This is where you call each other 10 times in a day, update each other literally every second of the day. Everyone knows what the other person is doing at any given point. There's a lot of communication in this stage. There's a lot of being in touch. There's a lot of feelings involved and the spark is up there and things are working out. However, there comes now this other stage that we call the storming stage. The masks fall off. We are not pretending anymore now. The love feels like it has left, and the elephant in the room is that the spark now seems to have gone. At this stage, marriages will require intentional input from the partners and God. Otherwise, the worst will happen at this stage. This will be our main focus on this podcast. Most marriages will experience turmoil at this level and the worst, divorce. Actually, most marriages, if they go above this stage, chances of survival are very high. And at this stage, you'll find that even sometimes unfaithfulness creeps in. You have cheating spouses that are quick to give an excuse that there is no more spark anymore, or we just don't connect anymore. This stage of marriage is inevitable. It will happen. This is where your vows are tested. Ladies and gentlemen, we should be ready for this stage to avoid falling into temptations and the many problems we see in marriages today. And at this point, let me say, most marriages that you see having a lot of issues have stagnated at this stage because they did not find ways on how to evolve to the other last stage now that causes stability and everything. So if you find people fighting all the time, no communication, they have never found a common ground on the issues that they are facing as a couple, it will be this stage. So, having extramarital affairs happens a lot in this stage, and let me say it solves nothing. Pursuing divorce means you're running away from a fight and it will catch up with you in the next season. To be honest, it's easier to work on your marriage than pursuing the above options. Being unfaithful creates problems that will be unsolvable in the life of the marriage. You scar your partner for life. Extramarital affairs starts sexual affairs that run into generations because you are introducing spirits that can never be one with God. In short, you are thinking, you're throwing away God's you're throwing away God, who is the center of every other marriage, for a moment of escape that is an illusion. The Bible says that your body belongs to your spouse. That is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 4. The wife has no authority over her own body, but yields to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body. So that's in another version, the wife gives authority over her body to her husband, and the husband gives authority over his body to his wife. That's why having extramarital affairs is called stealing or cheating, because you're giving away that which you have no authority over. And this generation, cheating is worse because the people you're cheating with are also cheating with other people. So we're saying that at this level, you honestly want to avoid cheating and being intentional with your partner engaging your partner, and avoiding places and situations that tempt you to such a place. Because you see now there's somehow a loosened attachment to your partner. So high chances you might be tempted by other people there, because you see now you are on a high and all of a sudden you're on a low. We're not pretending anymore. We are in a situation where, okay, I'm here to stay. So I will not be that lady that you used to find on the street when you're dating, and maybe kids have even come into the picture. And now we have these little ones that are our responsibility, that somehow creates debts even in our finances. And now we even have to take care of our extended family. We are Africans, and at the end of the day, this is not so far fetched. And eventually, there'll be some responsibilities that creep in of that nature. So, uh, you would want to avoid a situation where you're feeling like you're creating more distance from your partner, because again now that is how you fall into temptations, and that's how you end up even being unfaithful to your partner, or even worse, because now when you add unfaithfulness plus no spark, the chances of divorce are very high. So we must be intentional on how we work on our marriages and things we pursue. You have to force yourself to date your partner all over again. And you have to, in fact, in this stage, communication is everything. It will be the one thing that is going to take you out of that mess. Do not assume that your partner knows where you are. Do not assume that your partner knows how much you earned. Do not assume your partner knows you paid the bills. Literally do not assume anything. Put it on the table. Let that spark not go away, but let us also be ready to know that the spark will not be there forever. That magic spark will not be there forever. And in fact, in the latter years of your marriage, you create it, intentionally creating it. We are here in this institution. We intend to keep our vows. We intend to respect our union. You intend to respect your partner. So you intentionally invest in your relationship. And also, at this stage, you want to avoid the divorce, because you lose your blessing. How? The Bible says that whoever finds a wife finds a good thing and finds favor with God. So, as a man, if you lose your wife, you've lost favor. And as a woman, if you lose your husband, you've lost a covering. And who honestly wants to start relationships that are not ending up anywhere? And guys, divorce is not easy. Divorce, the Bible says that divorce is as painful as death. It is that painful. So why this makes it reason? This makes it very important for us to nurture our relationship, for us to protect our unions, for us to protect our partners, for us to protect this baby that is called marriage, so that we can continue enjoying the partnership that comes with it. Number two, we have over romanticized relationship, that people get to marriages expecting romance, wild love, changing winds of love. Every day you want to be cuddled. Every day you want to be bought for gifts. You're expecting a love under the stars. Things that out of this world, that mostly honestly they are only found in movies by a perfectly creative person who sits down and writes things that he himself or herself has not probably seen under the sun. So let us not over romanticize relationships or marriages to an extent that if you do not see those things in your relationship, then you're assuming yours is dead. And therefore now you start walking away because this thing looks like it's not gonna work and looks like it's dead. So it is important to know that it's not gonna be wild love 100%. There'll be arguments. That is why they say love has thorns and it has roses. There'll be roses. There'll be times you'll throw hands at each other. There'll be times you'll shout at each other. There'll be times you won't want to see each other. There'll be times that you'll slip over very serious heated arguments. And it's part of marriage, because that is how you grow. You grow in those arguments because now you realize, oh, my partner does not condone this, is not okay with this. So by being intentional, you start avoiding those things that make your partner angry or agitated. Same way, Marriages survive with reciprocity, where you intentionally decide, my wife bought me a gift, I will also surprise them with something else. So we have to be very, very intentional on how we treat our partners, and so that we may enjoy marriages and the dynamics that come with it as God intended. And let's face it, if it was all pure love and wild love and all those nice things, it would be boring, right? I think also the arguments, the fights bring some nice twist to it when the makeup has been done, right? And of course, you look forward to the makeup because you have intentionally decided to stay there, spark or no spark. So let us not over exaggerate this spark thing. Spark is all in our head. It's in the movies that we've seen that have become part of us since we were growing up as young people, and we have over what can I say? You've overdone it in your head and you're thinking that's the way it should be. Let us not mislead the new generation and the new couples. The spark does not fade away completely, but there'll be days that you'll be needed to be on your knees more because uh, arguments are there, fights are there, and sometimes it gets so bad mpaka there are third voices into your union. Of course, in the next episode, we shall discuss the dangers of having the third voice in your marriage. But the reality on the ground is it will happen. So let's be prepared for this second stage. The last stage is the stability stage. At this stage now, we have realized who we are. I've studied your personality. You've studied my personality. We've agreed we are in this union. We have been blessed with these children. We have these responsibilities. I know your limits. I know how much I can go with you. I know what turns you off. And I know what can make you super angry. So this stage you enjoy knowing that I am Mrs. Momanyi. I am not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. This has to work, and both of us have to put in. And whenever a marriage gets to this stage now, you are satisfied. At this stage, nothing much can surprise you about your partner. And at this stage, almost 90% of the marriages that get to this stage will survive. They will survive. But it's easier said than done when you're passing through the fire and making sure that you get to the because marriage is hard work. It's hard work. It's not easy. By the time you get there, there has been God, there has been a lot of crying, tantrums, throwing things. But when it gets here, you're assured of a lifelong partner. And there's nothing beautiful like growing old, but with the husband of your youth or the wife of your youth, the person who got you, the person who has dreams for you, who wants to be wheeled to the hospital with no one to be there for you. So let us take care of our unions and let us know that the spark does not last forever. It is a cycle. There is a time that it's gonna go away. There's a time you need to recreate it. There's a time you intentionally make that decision to be there. And being intentional means closing your eyes to all other things that are swaying you aside, all those other women promising you things, all those other men promising you things. By the time you took your vows, by the way, that is part of the vows that we take. Forsaking all others, I take you. That means you've seen all those other million dudes, but you've decided this is the one that I want to grow old with. So let us purpose and let us know by the time you're saying I do, the thorns will be there. The spark will go. So let it not find you like a shock. There's no spark in my marriage anymore. We don't connect anymore. So you go now looking for other people. We've already discussed the dangers of unfaithfulness. And sometimes in situations of unfaithfulness, there'll be divorce. You honestly do not want to scar your partner like that. That's a wound that never heals. It takes away trust from your partner forever. And that pain, that pain you've caused your partner isn't something that you can take away just because of one stupid decision in one day. And number two, unfaithfulness breeds ritual altars in your generation that you cannot take away. And sometimes those altars can affect up to your fourth generations because these are spirits bonding You have no idea of who you're cheating with, who they are, their alters in their lives, what they are dealing with. So you honestly do not want to invite these alters into your generation just because of one stupid decision of there's no spark anymore. We are not connecting anymore. No, you go looking for other people thinking you'll connect with them. It won't happen. You're putting yourself in more mess because now you have to deal with this home that you're almost breaking, children that you are hurting, and this other person and it never ends well. It never ends well. So let's comment on the comment section. Has this podcast helped you? Will you be intentional in your relationship, and will you work in your relationship knowing that the spark never lasts forever, but it can be created with an intentional decision from both partners?